Guys, so chapter 2. Um, so basically, this is another chapter of consequences, if you want to call it like that. So we come here talking about the last days, just like the book of Revelation, that the mountain of the Lord house shall be established. And many people shall go and ask, they come, let us go up into the mountain of the Lord, right? And they say they shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords and spears. Nation shall not lift up against nation, neither shall they learn war no more. O house of Jacob, ye come, and let us walk into the house, the light of the Lord. So basically, when it is you walk in God's light, there's always peace, right? And as you think when it is you're walking with God, a peace that passes all understanding. No matter what happens, you could not be stressed out, not worry, not take it on, and all these things. And he comes now and he says that the people decide to forsaken the house of Jacob, meaning that the house of Jacob followed the Lord, the light of the Lord. And they were basically more swept away of all the goals and the riches, and they didn't even wanted to forgive. And we always say, forgive others as we want God to forgive us. So the land had full of idols, and they worshipped the work of their own hands, right? And the fingers had made. And the man bowed down, and great man humbled himself before the idols, right? And the haughtiness of men, meaning the proudness of men, right, will be bowed down, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. In other words, remember we always say God is a jealous God, and when God realizes that you put anything or anyone before Him, He will turn whether that blessing or that person into a curse in your life, because nobody else was to get first place besides Him, right? And in the rest of here, they talk about how everything basically turned against them. And the idols he shall utterly abolish, and they shall go to the holes of the rocks and to the caves of the earth, caves of the earth, and fear of the Lord, right? Because they realize now the idols and the false gods are not our God. Our God is a living God. Every other religion requires a sacrifice to idols and to gods, and Christianity, if you want to call it that, is the only religion that our God sacrificed Himself to save us. And there's a difference right there, right? And we continue saying that in that day man shall cast idols of silver and idols of gold, which they have made from himself to worship, and to the moles of the bats, to go into the clefts of the rocks, and into the tops of the rugged rocks, for the fear of the Lord and for the glory of His majesty when He arises and shaketh terribly earth. God is a God of patience, right? But He's also a God of anger. And people forget that part. It's like God, you always say, try not to provoke God, try not to anger God, try not to, have the wrath of God upon your life. And God will let you do and do and do, but eventually He will strike back, right? And He said, "Here seest ye from man, whose breath is in his nostrils, wherein is he to be accounted for?" And that's basically it. You have to be accounted for your actions, especially when it is the right from wrong. Because remember, at before, they were walking in the light of God, and then they decide, okay, you know what? This I don't want to do this no more, and decide to worship idols and make the false gods and bow down. And in the end, it just turns out to be, well, as you read it here, basically a curse and abomination in your life. So I hope that I explained this chapter pretty okay, and I always tell everyone, whenever you are there, as I say, whatever man thinketh, so is he. Watch what you putting in front of God, whether it's a person, whether it's yourself, whether it's material things, and try and make some changes.